Just a brief but highly important and very, very on point update on the missing person case of Naomi Irons. If you haven't heard of this true crime case yet, it is quite something. So you want to make sure, you know, get everybody to find out about this as well and get their attention on this. I think the more people that find out about these cases, the better. Thank you. JTC channel. Short but vital update nonetheless. This is an update on the case, which recently was a cold case, now turned to a closed case. The case of Naomi Irons. The Nevada woman went missing for more than 2 weeks, and she has been discovered very recently in Nevada. Investigators were called to a remote part of Churchill County on Tuesday after receiving a tip connected to the disappearance of Miss Irons, according to a news release from the Churchill County Sheriff. Their investigative action led them to the gravesite, the Washoe County Sheriff confirms. A body was recovered and taken to the Washoe County Medical Examiner's office for autopsy. On Wednesday, it is confirmed the body was the remains of missing 18-year-old Naomi Irons. We would like to extend our sympathy and condolences to the Irons family and thank all the volunteers for their hard work in trying to find Naomi and bring closure. The Churchill County Sheriff's Office and Records Division of Irion County will continue to work closely on these cases. Troy Driver, age 41, of Nevada, was arrested Friday for official kidnapping related to Naomi Irons' disappearance and later her homicide. At a hearing on Wednesday, Judge Lori Mathias set conditions to Driver's bail, previously set at $750,000. If the suspect posts bail, he will not be released from custody until the GPS is affixed. Naomi Irons' family was present in court but did not make statements. As of 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time, Driver was still in custody at the Lyon County Detention Center. A pretrial hearing for Driver was set to begin on April 5th, and the preliminary hearing is scheduled to take place April 12th. Iron was last seen at 5 a.m. on March 12th in the Walmart parking lot right outside of Fernley, Nevada. She was then abducted on surveillance video. The surveillance showed someone wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt, dark pants, jeans, dark tennis shoes, who approached Naomi Irons' car at 5:24 a.m. 1 minute later, her vehicle was seen leaving the parking lot with that same man. Detective Eric Kuzma and Leon County Sheriff's Office confirmed this report. Irons' vehicle was found near the Walmart 3 days afterward. Irons case. Lawyers for the accused killer of Naomi Irons, a man by the name of Troy Driver, have requested a mental competency screening and evaluation. The defense lawyers for accused murderer Troy Driver have requested a mental competency evaluation. We can see kind of examples of what it looks like in court there. In a filed motion, the undersigned counsel believes that good cause exists to refer to Mr. Driver to be evaluated for competency. They claim that he may not be able to help his own defense with a reasonable degree of rational understanding as required under Nevada state law. They further request that any future proceedings be suspended until a decision is made on whether he is competent to stand trial. Driver's lawyers have filed to amend the motion to dismiss his murder charge to include newly filed assault felony allegations. His lawyers propose that the court order are modified to conduct a full briefing and schedule that will include both of these charges in concurrent motion. The Fernley Justice Court reports that Troy Driver has waived his right to an arraignment after the district attorney officially added assault onto the docket. 2 News learned that Driver's attorney has until August 2nd to respond. His preliminary hearing is set for September 13th, which is the first time he appears in court in person. The Lyon County District Attorney is asking the judge to oppose a motion from Troy Driver's attorneys to dismiss the murder charges. Driver is accused of murdering and kidnapping 18-year-old Naomi Irons of Fernley, Nevada. Defense lawyers argue the Driver should not be tried in Lyon County since investigators found Irons' body in Churchill. In the letter to the judge filed Wednesday, the DA again argued that the motion does not provide any factual or legal basis. The district attorney also asked for an assault charge to be added to the murder, stating that the district court had erred in its original decision. A preliminary hearing is set for September 13th. That is the first time Driver appears in court. The man suspected of killing Naomi Irons was again in court on Tuesday. Troy Driver's defense team continues to argue to dismiss the murder allegations. Driver's attorney states the murder charge should be dropped because homicide happens right outside of Churchill County. Driver's evidentiary and preliminary hearings begin September 13th of 2022. So again, there's not too much that needs to really be covered on this. It's it's now a closed case, and really no one else. It was confirmed no one else was involved in the kidnapping and the murder. It is kind of interesting, though, when you look at the court docket, what it shows and what it says, because it talks about another similar earlier case in the Las Vegas Township. But it's really been tied up. Driver is guilty of the murder, and it's fairly clear now that the MTV reality stars may have also known about the murder. Mentioned someone by the name of Martinez Guzman. So there's some very clear distinctions in there that there was more involved in why they got rid of Naomi Irons. But Driver was indeed the killer, and there's not really that much else to be said. There is some interesting points that I'm going to show on the map when we look at this on the map for a moment. Right here, JTC channel. Thank you. Important part, right? The remains of the 18-year-old were where she was last seen outside of the Walmart in Fernley, Nevada, were located at a gravesite in a remote part of Churchill County. Naomi Irons was last seen parked at the store around 5 a.m. She was waiting for a shuttle to take her to her job at Panasonic. Now this is important and also a bit unusual. They captured this on the surveillance footage, but if you go there, this is the area near basically the rural dumping site or dumping ground where the remains of Naomi Irons were recovered. And here you see there is a adventure first stop. Also, it's right directly by Pioneer Park. And so the difficult thing for me to believe at first is, how could she be just randomly going to work right at the Panasonic Corporation And that Panasonic is, of course, the subsidiary. It's a subsidiary of the actual Panasonic energy. That's what you come to find out. But how could she be going to a remote job or a local uh, arrival to her job at Panasonic, and then along the way end up encountering this person who murders her, just completely at random? That's the part that does not add up. She's right directly next to Pioneer Park where she's discovered, right? And if she was just traveling, going on her own path and everything to get to Panasonic, she would be traveling past all these storage centers and so on. It's like that doesn't happen at all, where a random stranger, namely Mr. Driver in this case, ends up killing you on the way to work. So I don't believe that that is the correct, true story, is what I was getting to, folks. I believe that certainly Mr. Driver is not a random person. I think that she knew this Mr. Driver personally. And that may actually explain why certain parts of this case have always felt a bit fishy. It says Troy Driver, age 41, of Fallon, was arrested and charged with kidnapping in connection with Naomi Irons. They were found at a gravesite in rural Churchill County. So we are at that location, in Nevada. But unless this is like lightning striking, I don't see it adding up. That she could just be traveling through Fallon, Nevada, and end up going to work, run into a serial killer at random, and be killed and dumped in a grave right here near this metals manufacturing facility, outside of Fallon, Nevada. I don't see that being the actual answer. So what I believe happened, it's really about proving it, of course, because that's what every true crime case comes down to. But what I truly believe happened, folks, is this person named Troy Driver knew of Naomi Irons previously to this whole ordeal. Maybe they went on some kind of encounter. Maybe he had what could be presumed to be some kind of date, or at least a date in his mind, with her. But somehow, what I'm getting at is he knew directly who she was, and he knew the family of Naomi Irons. Then that would actually perfectly explain why he ended up following her through this specific area of town, and then the rest of the incident happening as it unfolded, just as it unfolded on camera. Because then that explains how he was able to track her so easily, and why it looked like there was an argument and things like that. And what I can't believe, folks, is that the sheriff's office and so forth has never even talked about the fact that Troy Driver obviously knew Naomi Irons in a personal way. They had something. I don't know if it was a relationship. I know that obviously they knew each other. And she would be traveling through this area quite often. This area is very, very dangerous when you think about the fact that it's right near a manufacturing facility for metal manufacturers. So She could have been connected to certain people, even without her maybe complete awareness of it. And maybe she depended or relied on a driver in some way, or similar to keep her out of harm's way or something to that effect. But again, that truly starts to paint the picture and explain why her body was just found randomly in Fallon, Nevada. It's a place she traveled through for work. Yes. But she obviously knew a couple of people who were from this area. And one of them was clearly Troy Driver. So I think that is all that needs to be said for right now. Thank you for continuing to get these videos out there far and wide, so that we can truly have a clear picture, that we can get the full story. I think that everybody needs to know about this. Right here, JTC channel.